Welcome to another live stream edition of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
Tim.
We're here for another week. Tonight there's a lot to get through as always. So we're going to talk about the latest from Rammstein, Dorothy and Ocean Grove. We're going to revisit a classic Def Leppard album tonight as well. Going to talk about new singles from Gwar, Journey, Rawtism and Dead City Ruins. We'll have a discussion on what we liked in April, we're looking forward to in May, and also sort of the idea of replacement fill-ins for touring bands, which we've seen a little bit of that on the rise of late as well. As always, there's all the usual stupidity, so make sure you say hi in the comments and give us your thoughts as we go along. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all the usual shit that everyone gets you to do. To do that, check out the description box of this episode, wherever you're tuning into this from, be it live now with us or later on. And follow the links there, and also do the same thing for our fantastic sponsors in Squinting, Scrimping, Alt, Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Anything you can do socially to give them a share, a like, a follow, all that sort of stuff would be greatly appreciated by us and by them as well. Got a few of the regulars already saying hi, but if you're here, say hi to us, and we'll try to engage in the conversation as best as we can as we go along. We've already got Rowan here on YouTube saying, giving us the horns as always. So good to see you, Rowan. Thanks for joining us. And our regular nudes, good to see you again, buddy. Hope you're keeping well over there. And another regular, Nicole, good to see you again over on YouTube. Love having you with us. So we're getting a few here, so keep it coming. But let's do the quote-unquote the rounds as usual. It's been a couple of weeks since our last live stream. And Tim, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been all right, just keeping busy. All work and whatnot, trying to keep warm today.
Yeah.
It's freezing today. Winter is coming for sure. But yeah, no, just... quiet month on the gig front, so just enjoying some quiet time.
Yeah.
How's it all
going? Yeah, good. But before we get to that, how's it all going with the album and stuff now with Arcane Saints? Everything going good there?
Yeah, no, it's been good. Response is still good. Still getting plays. Still people liking it. People liking the interview we did the other that aired on Saturday or Sunday night.
Yeah. Yep.
Which was good. So people know a little bit more about us now. So
and about how much you hated one particular song.
Hey, that's just part of the dynamics of being in a band.
Yeah, that's true. That was still a great moment on the interview, though. So if you haven't checked it out, it is sitting online for you to check out the interview with Arcane Saints, which Nikki and myself did with Tim here and also Mike from the band. That was a lot of fun.
Mike's much more interesting than me. So
says the guy who's on a stream every week. So there we go. But no, it was a good interview. It was a lot of fun, actually. That was one of the funny ones we've had with you guys, which is good. And Nikki was on fire with the questions too. Did all the research for that one, which was good work by her there. And that and the review which we did will also be released as standalone content online soon as well. So just you can see it there. It's all there. Just go back through the posts and you'll see the live version of it, or you can just wait and we'll release it again, or re-release, I should say, very, very soon. As for myself, it's just busy as always. Work's flat out, and the other work, this stuff is flat out too. So it's just go. Been trying some new things with the routine, just trying to get some stuff more established, and it seems to be working so far this week. And so far, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all the other usual things you do to try and get yourself through. But so far, so good. Hopefully, it sort of keeps up and we'll be okay. And yeah, but it's all good. Nothing to complain about. Happy days all around. Just like you, keep them warm. I had the heater on in here before, but the dumb dog likes to open the door because he can. And so he opens it, lets all the cold air straight in again. So I was like, okay, well, that was kind of pointless. So hence the jacket again. It's getting very chilly these days. So yes, winter is definitely on the way. All right, what do we got here? More people saying hi. So Basher over on Facebook saying hello to us. Good to see you there, buddy. Darren again. Hey, all. Good to see you again as well. What are we going here? Rowan says, had to listen to the Arcane Saints album after the interview on the weekend, and it was great. There we go. Glad you enjoyed it.
Man.
The point.
Thanks.
That is beautiful. So that is entirely the point. I'm glad you checked it out after that little interview. That was good. There's a bit of a problem with this thing trying to scroll down at the moment, but I'll get to that one there in a minute. But as usual, let's just launch straight on in, and we'll get to the comments and that as we go along. First single to discuss tonight is the latest from Gwar. Oh, hang on, before we do, Dean's gone, hey, lads, hope all is well with you both. Thank you very much. We're well. Hope you are as well over there. Good to have you with us once again. As usual, love having your company as well as everyone else. Alrighty, but in the comments, in the description box, you'll find a link to the latest from Gwar. Well, see, choose on his toy, which is a song called Motherfucking Liar. So this is Gwar with Motherfucking Liar. This is the first single from the new album, The Dark Ages, which I believe is due on June the 3rd. And there's also going to be a graphic novel to go along with this. It's like the band gets sucked into an alternate reality and all this usual stuff. You know, the thing with Gwar, they've always got a gimmick going on. So, bit of fun, but this one felt a bit more thrash. So, Tim, how'd you go with it?
I liked it, and I mean, it did feel a bit more thrash to the traditional Gwar garbage rock. But I mean, that's probably what to be expected with Odorous passing away, and the new collaborations coming in. So I mean, the follow up to the next Gwar tracks were always going to be an interesting listen. So, and this is definitely that. And I mean, they're all experienced players these days. They all know what they're doing. So nobody should ever have been worried about it. But you know, they still sound like Gwar, which is cool. So looking forward to the album.
No, I'm the same. I'm looking forward to the album. If this first taste is anything to go by, it just felt. I'd listened to a few Gwar things over the years, and live they're a fun band as well. But this one just felt more direct. I don't know it just felt like it was much more attacking, much more direct. Just to do with the lyrics as well. The lyrics weren't really in any sort of a theme. It actually felt like very present day, real world kind of lyrics with the way it was, you know, burn, let it burn, you know, all I hate is a motherfucking lie. Like, it's actually pretty blunt and wasn't quite what I was expecting, but I liked it.
There's been some very blunt Gwar in the past.
There has. Yeah. I don't know. I guess it just wasn't completely what I thought I was going to get. But again, you don't really know because, like you said, the lineup change has been forced, and they've gone through a few lineup changes over recent years as well. So you never quite.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, because Odorous was the main dude.
Yeah, exactly. But even the vocal lineup change there, they had the woman one for a while and all kind of stuff there too. They've had a few changes in like the last kind of decade, I guess, for lack of a better term. But yeah, no, this one's punchy. It's direct. It's aggressive. It's cool. If you like metal, if you like thrash, give it a go. You're going to enjoy it. If you like Gwar, it'll impress you. If you haven't checked it out before, it's probably a good song to start with, actually. It's nice and direct and easy to get into. So yeah, catchy chorus too, I thought. That was a neatly done little trick there. That was cool. So
they're a better band than they get credit for.
Yeah, they are. They lean into the gimmick, but they're good.
Because they're very gimmick heavy. But on their own, like, I mean, like, some of the lyrics are ridiculous, but they are quite a catchy band.
They are definitely a catchy band, and that's I guess that's part of the fun, if that makes sense. Like, you go and see these guys live, it's a different experience to the record, but there's obviously some cut, but there's always a lot of fun in it too. And I guess I don't know. I don't know. Don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. It was just sort of like, okay, here's a blunt song. It's like, okay, that'll do. No, I was happy with it. I really did enjoy it. And it's one of those ones I've been starting my day off with that on the drive to work. Every day I put the singles we're talking about on for the first 4 tracks of the day. And it's like, that's the first song of the day. It's a good way to start. So I haven't gotten tired of it yet, so I'm pretty good with it. It's a good track. If you like Gwar, check it out. If you like metal, check it out. It'll make you happy. Nicole says, Gwar is Gwar, always great for a fun listen, which is true. And Nudes has also said, can't go wrong with Gwar. So, yeah, if you're a fan, let us know. If you're not, check it out and let us know you go with that one too. As always, we are going to take a fucking severe turn now and go to the opposite end of the spectrum. So in the comments, in the description box, you're going to see the latest as a link to the latest from Journey. The song is called You Got the Best of Me. Journey is the band, which is a classic all-time band. And then You Got the Best of Me is the new single from them. It's a second single, from the upcoming album Freedom, due on July 8th, I believe. It's their first new album for a decade. I think the last one was like 2011 from memory. So yeah, there's been a bit of a while between drinks for these guys, and I've seen some commentary kicking around about the mix of this, which was interesting to see some people talking about it. It's an interesting mix, but yeah, I don't know. How'd you go with it, Tim?
I can't say I noticed the mix, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But for me, like, this sounded like the Don't Stop Believing band. You know,
yeah, exactly.
It's a heavy synth. It's a light, twangy guitar, and it's a big backing vocal, chorus-y chorus. If that makes any sense. Like there's a lot of focus on harmonies and building them towards the end of the song. You know, if it's an album of stuff like this, they've obviously put together a lot of work and a lot of album craft into this song. So if the album builds like this, then it's going to be just fine. And I mean, you know, we've heard a lot of older albums from older bands in the past couple of years that have been way better than they had every right to be. So this is looking like it's probably just going to be another one of those. So you know, it's not if you're looking for an absolute ball terror of a hard rock song, it's not going to be it. But I mean, for a classic older style pop tune, this is, if that's what you like, then you probably will enjoy this.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where it's not one of. I mean, they're not a band that's trying to win new fans anyway. They've hit the fucking heights. Everyone knows that certain songs of these guys, so they're a household name for a reason for a lot of people. But yeah, this is just another solid song. It fits the classic rock vibe really nicely. They're not breaking any new ground. It's not going to win new fans, but I think old fans or people that love classic rock in general are going to get a real kick out of this. And it's good to see the older bands still kicking on. We had Nazareth a few weeks ago as well, and they're into the 50+ years of being a band, and that was a cracking release, you know. So, and we had what was it? Was it Accept last year? That was one of them that was just throwing down the gauntlet. So yeah, we're getting some.
There was Accept. There was Saxon.
That's there
was Deep Purple.
Yes, definitely Deep Purple. Their last few albums have been good too. There's another one on the way as well. But there's been this spate of older guard bands just, you know, going, here we go. We're still here. We haven't gone anywhere. And for a band that hasn't done an album in 11 years, for it to still sound so much like Journey the last time you left off and you pick it up and off you go again, then all credit to them. Hats off. It's just a good classic hard rock song with. It's not the heaviest thing by all means, and it's never going to be. That's not what the band's about. But it was just a good, solid song that if you're a fan of the band or you like that genre, check it out. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Yeah, good song. I'm looking forward to the album on the back of that. So we'll see what the rest. I haven't checked out the previous single yet. I haven't had a chance to. So I do want to go and check that out and see what there is as well. But yeah, not a bad track at all. Nicole, he's going Journey, sounding like Journey, which is a good way to sum it up. That probably just says everything we said in about 4 words. So
yeah.
So there we go. All righty. Let's get to some locals now. Some Melbourne bands. Keith, are you here, Keith? I know you wanted to know what time we were doing this. So this is the latest from Rawtism, and the song is called I Think I'm Cursed. The link to that is in the description box, also in the comments now. So Rawtism is the band, I Think I'm Cursed is the song. And this is the latest single from this Melbourne band, which we've covered on the show before a couple of times now. And this actually has a guest spot from former Hard Rock Show co-host Dennis Dended Suzuka. He plays a solo on this one. And it's a rework of an old Seppuku song. This is a song that's been kicking around for a while now. But Keith and Dennis were bandmates in Seppuku going back years and years and years. And that's why this one sort of felt fitting for Keith to give it a bit of a rework and Dennis to come in and do a solo on it. So that's the vibe. How'd you go, Tim?
This is a fucking great track.
I thought you'd like it.
Oh, what a great song.
Yeah.
It's just it is a underground thrashy song.
Yeah.
You know, it's got that barking vocal and wonderful use of time, I thought, as well.
Mm.
Like the halftime chorus and the double time drums.
Yeah.
There's a cracking guitar solo in it as well. But
Mm.
this is everything I love about music in 3.5 minutes. This is a
Nice.
phenomenal song. I love this.
Cool.
And it's catchy.
Yeah, it
Like,
is.
it's catchy enough. It's catchy enough to where like you don't need to be a thrash person to enjoy it.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Like that's how good it is. Such a great song.
Yeah, I love the lyrics too. The lyrics in the chorus are catchy as well. Like it's got a little twist in it, which is nice. I thought it was it's a clever little song, this one. And what I thought was really cool was how the two different guitar tones really stood out from each other. So you can tell when Den comes in and plays his bit, which is really cool. And it's a nice little throwback because I can go back to, we actually remember the old studio we would occasionally have some bands come in with some tracking and stuff in the place. And Dennis's band at the time, Seppuku, came in and did some tracking and that. And so Keith would hang around and you know, the whole band basically hang around with us for a while, and it was a lot of fun. And this is something kicking around since those days. And I've heard it, the original quote unquote Seppuku version. I like this one a lot. I know that's not the differences here make it, I don't know, it's got a really, it's funny that the song's been around that long, but it feels so fresh. Like it just feels really fresh. This feels, you mentioned like it's got the perfect underground metal kind of vibe to it, and that really does sum it up nicely. It does feel perfect. I think if you're a fan of bands like Hobbs Angel of Death, this is definitely going to be something that's going to be right up your alley. I mean, Keith is influenced by that, but that shows. But it's the homage thing, not the rip-off thing. It's just everything is done right about this song. It's got attitude, it's got intensity, it's got aggression, but it's still got enough melody. That hook and the catchiness in the chorus is there. There's a bit of fun in it. I don't know. If you like upbeat thrash metal with a bit of fun, bit of energy, this would go off live too. This would be fun to see live.
It does.
Yeah. So this is a good one. I enjoyed this one a lot as well. So Keith, you've done a very, very good job with this one. And yeah, I think a lot of people that have known you over the years will be proud to see you continuing on the way you are with Rawtism. You've got a great thing going. So keep up the good work and let us know when you got more stuff coming through because, yeah, thanks to Keith for sending it into us as well. And that's the lyric video there to go and check out. We'll see if we can get a spin on the TV broadcast soon as well. But we're getting a lot of love for this one from the comments here. So Nicole's gone, "Ooh, I love this," which is very, very easy to do. We do it. Darren says, "Great catch, Junior, get stuck in your head. And that's all you want out of that hook." But Nicole also acknowledged Hobbsy there. So rest in peace, Peter Hobbs. And yes, again, one of the legends gone far, far too soon. And on to one more single, last single before we get into more stuff. Today is the latest from another Melbourne band in Dead City Ruins. The song is called Preacher. So the band is Dead City Ruins. The song is Preacher. This is another band that's been around for quite some time. We actually interviewed Dead City Ruins way, way back before we even got the studio. So in the old spare bedroom in Shane's house, we did an interview with them there. So we've been following these guys for a while. Looks like there's a new album due a bit later this year, which I'm keen as fuck to hear. And this is also our first chance to check out in the studio recording their new vocalist, Steve Welsh, with the band. So this is our first little introduction to the new vocalist since the lineup change. Tim, how'd you go?
I love this as well.
Yeah.
Again, gear change from the last track, but this is just a good, solid hard rock track. New vocals just slot right in.
Yep.
Tones are fantastic. Dead City Ruins, they sound great.
Yeah.
And it's just a great song. I'm looking forward to the full length later on in the year because these guys are one of the premier Melbourne bands.
Definitely. Yeah. Nothing these guys do is phoned in or half-assed or anything like that. They have a lot of fun with what they're doing, but when they kick it into gear, they're on. And this song is a prime case in point. Great hook in the chorus. It's got a great hook. Great chorus. I love the melody across this song. If you're a fan of the band from the past, the new vocalist, like you said, slots right in. There's a difference, but it's not a huge difference, if you know what I mean. It's a great fit. What is happening with this one now with Steve is really well done. And I think it they've had more line of change. I think Tommy's on bass now and stuff. There's a few different bits and pieces going on, but if anything, where the last album was a little bit more sort of 70s influence, like a bit more Sabbathy kind of a thing. This one feels like a little bit more direct hard rock, which is what you were sort of talking about there before, Tim, as well. I think this one, if you like just good hard rock songs, this is a band you should check out. Check out their previous work as well. But this single, if it's anything to go, if this is a taste of what's to come on the album, then yeah, get excited. I'm a big fan of this song, and I think that the album's going to be a cracker. So looking forward to that. It'll be the first time in a few years now for new music from these guys. So I'm very, very keen. They're still with the same label too, which is great to see some support being given from a label when it's been a few years between it and they've got a lineup change stuff and they're still going through that process. So that's good. We see a lot of bands that have dropped along the way, but AFM have stuck with Dead Sea Ruin. So very, very keen to see where that goes, and good luck to them all. This is a good song. Check it out. Another one here from Nicole. She loves it. So another cracking song. So far we're getting a lot of love for the singles tonight. So that's going well. But make sure you give us your thoughts out there. Now we're going to move on to the first sort of topic of conversation for tonight, which is the hot topic, I guess. And that is it's the first stream of the month. The conversation inevitably shifts to, what we've just talked about and what we're looking forward to coming up. So this is just a quick little rundown of what we're looking forward to in May and what impressed us the most in April. Darren over on YouTube has also given us some feedback here quickly going, damn, these guys are impressive. Love it. If you like this, wait till you see them live, mate. They are fucking phenomenal live. Dead Sea. They are one of the best bands going around, bar none. Like, they are fantastic live. But anyway, let's get into it. So what did you like in April, Tim?
What did I like in April? Well, there was a few things that stuck out to me. It was obviously Meshuggah. That was the creme de la creme of April.
Yep.
But also there was the one that surprised me was Hell's Abyss.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is that kind of industrially kind of album we had. The EP from Fangs.
Sorry,
was really good. Yeah. The EP from Fangs was really good.
Yep.
And the other one that I really enjoyed, which is going to be in my, I don't know if it'll be up and around at the end of the year. But the album from Destruction.
Okay, yeah, that was cool too. Yeah.
Yeah. They're the four that really stuck out for me.
Yeah. My list is a bit longer, and there's some spoilers for tonight too for those playing along at home. But yeah,
I avoided those.
Yeah, no, you avoided those.
I avoided tonight. We'll
do it tonight. All right. Well, I won't list them. Let's see if you can guess them. Not won't be hard. That won't be that hard to do. But Meshuggah, yes, definitely Immutable. That is a cracking album. I liked the choices you made, but I also liked Atomic Riot, their self-titled album. That one finally got released, and that's a very, very cool album. Nazareth, Surviving the Law, the opening track of that, Strange Days, could be one of the songs of the year for mine. That is great. Kirk Hammett, Portals. I know you ripped on the single we had because there wasn't enough wah pedal in it for you, but the EP is pretty bloody good. I enjoyed that one a fair bit. We haven't reviewed it. We're going to do it on Deep Cuts thing later on, but that's a cool one there. Also, Crash Died's new on Automated just dropped last week. We didn't squeeze into this week's show, but that's a very cool release as well. But also, one I didn't get around to checking out yet, but one I've got to go and check out is Thunder released a new album, a double album called Dopamine. That's one I've got to get around to and check out. I loved the last album last year, I think it was. So that's one for me that, yeah, I've got to get onto that. That's what I was excited about in April, aside from what we're talking about tonight. Brendan on Facebook's going, Wolf Shadowland, nice. Getting a lot of love for that album as well. I haven't checked it out yet personally, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. But looking ahead, what's got you excited in May?
Well, next week alone, is I'll be excited by 3 Days Grace, but that's just me showing my age.
Yep.
But also Sabaton, Hailstorm, and Fozzy, so that's a big week next week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not everything. But for the rest of the month, we've got Coheed and Cambria, an interesting one. Yeah. Decapitated, an interesting one. But the other one I'm interested in is by Michael Schenker Group, which always seem to release an album that just impresses us.
Yep, definitely. I've got a few oddball ones in my little list here. So, yeah, Fozzy with Boombox, that's next week. Hailstorm, Back from the Dead is next week. Motor Sister, Get Off is next week. So that's a big week coming up. 3 Days Grace, Explosions, like you. I don't mind 3 Days Grace. You going to say something there, sorry?
I was going to say, because there are some oddballs coming out in the month as well. I think Is it Tremonti who's releasing Frank Sinatra songs?
Yes, I want to hear that one. I want to check that out. I want to hear it.
Hopefully it's better than the Danzig Elvis album.
I have a funny feeling it will be. I mean, for one, that album's not hard to beat, but two, I don't think Mark Tremonti is capable of releasing anything that shit. So I stand to be corrected. Famous last words, no doubt. But no, I am very keen to check out that Mark Tremonti. It's Mark Tremonti Sings Sinatra is the album title. That's fucking. I'm looking forward to that. It's always funny to hear the metal and the classic crooner sort of stuff cross over a bit. But I reckon his voice is the right kind of voice to pull it off too. So I'm looking forward to that one. Another funny one, JBO, an old funny band, have a new album coming out called Pink Planet. The tastes of that have been rather interesting so far. It won't be for everyone, but that's one that's just I'm curious about. Evergrey have a new album coming out, A Heartless Portrait, so I'm definitely keen to check out that. But also, like you, Coheed and Cambria, A Window of the Waking Mind, that's going to be good. What else we got here? Michael Schenker Group, that's another one as well. But also Def Leppard, Diamond Star Halos, that's coming out. So I'm looking forward to that. It's funny we got that. We're talking about a classic for them tonight. They got a new album coming out in a few weeks. We've got some comments coming through, but yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to in May. It's still going to be. There's no quiet months anymore. It's just always going to be something big. If whatever your tastes are, you'll find something to enjoy pretty much every week. I think these days. Definitely some good stuff to look forward to. Rowan says, I've been listening to Michael Romeo's War of the Worlds Part 2. It's going to be an album of the year contender for me. Solid 9.5 out of 10 for me. That is a cracking release. I have had the chance to spin it at last. Very, very enjoyable. I'm going to try and stick a review of that somewhere. If it's just me, then whatever. But that's one that needs to be heard by a lot of people. If you haven't checked out Michael Romeo's War of the Worlds, start with Part 1, then check out Part 2. It's a fucking cracking release. Nudes said, bad for April. Red Hot Chili Peppers, bad for any month. So you did listen to it, Tim. Have you got a quick
I
snap?
loved it.
Yeah? Okay.
I thought the lead single was the worst track on the album.
Wow. Okay.
The lead single opens the album. I thought it was the worst track on the album. But other than that, I thought it was pretty good.
Nice. All right. Now, I do want to check it out, because I know you put in the chat about it. If you wanted to put on maybe a deep cuts or something down the line, if we can find a way to sort of
it's not a rock album. That's the thing.
No, and you don't go in there with that in
it's not. It's a soul funk album.
Yeah. Well, that's where the band. Well, yeah.
Well, that's where they sound their best. That's what they should have been doing for the last 10 years.
So there we go. All right, there's a bit of a snap review for that one. I haven't listened to it myself, so I can't give any feedback. I've only done the single, which I actually didn't mind the single Out of the Soul, which is the funny thing here. So maybe I'll like the album.
Well, the good news is it gets better from her. So.
All right. What do we got here? Back onto Tremonti for a second. Nicole says, I love a bit of swing. Should be good. That'll be nice. I do have high expectations. For all the joking aside, I do have high expectations at it. I just think he'll pull off a very good
but that's the thing. Is it going to be a swing album, or will it be like a hard rock album?
There is a single out. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet. There is a track available out there. There's already one dropped. I do want to check it out. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. The impression I get from the quick sort of, stub you see is that it's a mix. Like, it's not a full-blown. It might be actually more swing than metal. So, well, I don't know. But I'm guessing here, so don't hold me to my word on that one. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. So, there we go. Roland's excited for New Leopard. That's another one there. Edge Crushers, good to see you. Evergrey, can't wait. So that's another album we get excited about. What else we got here? Nudes has asked a question for you, Tim. Did you hear Party Cannon are supporting Gwar on the UK tour? Wow.
What a perfect combination.
Yeah, that is great, isn't it? That is fucking fantastic. That's a great pairing. That is really well done. I didn't know about that. That's very, very cool. Nicole says, I can't do the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So there we go. I'm sure you're not alone in that opinion there as well. But no, bit of fun. But no, there's some cool music coming up. So let us know what you're excited about, what got your attention in April, and what you're looking forward to in May. If you're not watching now, or if you are watching now, let us know. But if you're watching later on or listening later on, then give us your thoughts then as well. All right. Moving on to another topic before we start hitting our reviews for this evening. We're actually flying through things pretty quickly tonight, Tim. The topic of discussion is like an overrated, underrated, and this is the concept of filling musicians for now for bands that are on tour. So the idea here is that, for most recent example, is that Lamb of God, Randy Blythe, tested positive for COVID. In most places where you're touring these days, if you test positive for COVID, you're out. So they got, for a run of dates, 3 dates, I think it was, they got different singers in to come and fill the void for them to get them through those few shows. And then Randy would rejoin the tour when he was able to go again. Now, so basically, the question being posed is, do we think it's overrated or underrated for bands to have basically fill-in musicians or understudies ready to go for a few dates as things stand in the world today? What are your thoughts, Tim?
I love this so much. Obviously, look, okay, when it comes to Lamb of God, they're one of the bigger bands in the heavy metal world, and most singers would give up an arm to. That's not a spoiler for later, by the way.
Yeah,
give up an arm to jump on stage with Lamb of God.
Yeah.
So it's easy for them to do it, right? Unfortunately, it's not practical for everybody. Like, for example, like Black Veil Brides just cancelled their Australian tour or postponed it because somebody tested positive now for them touring Australia. Particularly, I'm sure they're not going to fly somebody else over to replace. But if it's possible, then why not? I'm sure people, because for everybody's like rescheduling a tour is just a pain in the ass, and with how the world's going nowadays, there's no guarantee the reschedule is going to go ahead either.
Yeah. Yep.
So may as well just play it. And the worst case, you get a story to tell. There's the stories of would have been about 10 years ago where Slayer played a show in Melbourne with no vocals.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was just a 2-hour sing-along.
Yeah. And everyone loved it too.
Exactly. So, there are ways around things. So why not? Why not?
Yeah.
If at all possible.
Yes. Yeah. I think the concept is vastly underrated. I think that if it's been good enough for theatre since the dawn of time to have an understudy and utilize it, then yes, there are logistical problems, and I'm not saying it's easy to do, but wherever possible, like you said, yes, they should go ahead and do it. I think that it doesn't matter who it is, if it's the vocalist or whatever, fine. If you've got someone else in the band that can sing, then put them out front and get a roadie to do guitar or whatever the job would normally be, and even to the point of get the band to rehearse what that would look like, just so that it's not a complete crapshoot. You know what I mean? So I think that because what we're seeing now is that every region of the world is different in how it treats this stuff. Even in like places like the US, from state to state, it's different. So it's a complete, there's no unified code on this. But logistically, there's already a backlog of touring that is impacting, I think, the next 2 to 5 years post-COVID. And we're not even done with COVID yet, despite what everyone might want to believe. It's not over. So it could be anything for the next however long. So I think that it's already impacted for that far ahead. So rescheduling a tour is just a nightmare, because we've seen already how long bands have tried to reschedule tours for, and then punters get angry because the money is being returned and that kind of stuff too. So I think there's a trust issue when it comes to rescheduling a tour, and it hasn't been happening, and people have been losing out on that long term. And then there's the idea, like, logistically it's fucking hard. Either way it's hard, but I think it's better now to put on the show and get on with it just for a few dates, because in most places it's like for the week, so you might miss a run of 3 or 4 shows tops kind of thing. Now for the people that are going, you get a story to tell. And I think that if you wanted to make it a soften the blow a touch, you could do things like, knock, say, $20 off the ticket price, or give them a drink card or discount on merch or something to sort of soften that blow. But at the same time, I think it's a cool little story to tell. If you can be at the one show, for example, that XYZ happened, I think that's a fantastic thing in future times. And the amount of stuff that goes on, the phones these days, footage-wise, it'll all get circulated and get done anyway. I think it's go on.
It's not like they're announcing it like 20 minutes before they go on. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
You got to know you're going to the show that, okay, Randy's out tonight, so-and-so is going to be singing, right?
Yeah.
If you're not happy with it at that point, you can get a refund.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
So
I just think that I think that if you start losing like 2 or 3, like if COVID goes through the camp, for example, and you lose 2 or 3 members, that makes it kind of hard. So so be it. I think at that point in time, you're better off canceling the show as opposed to promising to reschedule, because there is, like I said, a backlog. So I listened to something today where bands were saying it's already hard enough to book tours because every venue is so jammed up, it's so booked that you can't even get in at this point in time.
It's not just that too. They're also very conservative at the moment about who they're booking.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because they don't want to swing and miss.
Yeah.
Right now, they can't afford it.
Yeah. And touring promoters are the same as well. They're already losing some touring promoters as well. So it's the live side of things. I think it's just better to, if you can do it, if it's at all possible, the show must go on. I think that's the mentality we have to take. And I think that punters, I reckon, get around it. I reckon it's a good idea, personally. I think I've got no problem with it. I think that, I mean, we've seen in videos that we did the Taylor Hawkins thing the other night, and when Taylor could sing for Dave when Dave couldn't sing, you've usually got someone else in the band that can swap a role and then have one of your roadies fill in and do the role that, the other person would normally do. So it's not talking about replacing the entire band. It's just, 1, maybe 2 members if you can, kind of thing. That's just find a way to work around it. And like I said before, rehearse it so it doesn't look like a complete disaster. But even if it does, so what? It's a bit of fun. If the audience knows it in advance and they know what they're getting into, then it'll be a story to tell. Everyone tells stories of times when they saw Alice in Chains at Festival Hall and the railing got smashed and the gig got cancelled. Everyone talks about those things. Everyone talks about Guns N' Roses at Calder Park, not because of the show, but because of the chaos that ensued when people were trying to get out of the show. Like, those are the things that create the lasting memories. So I don't know. For me, I think it's a good thing. I think it should be explored more. But we'll see what the comments are. Let's see what we got here. All right, quickly, Nicole said, just quickly checked out Michael Tremonti. Wow, this is very swing, very wonderful in the 4 seconds heard. Okay, now I'm really curious. So there we go. Gear, hello again. Good to see you, buddy. Hello from Norway. Next week we have worldwide premiere, a new song from us, Fight for Glory, and the full album will come out in September. Nice. Very cool. We did talk about your other single the other week as well, so well done all around. Nude says Striper did their Aussie tour with their lead guitarist out and still killed it. So there you go. There's a recent example as well for everyone to see there. And here's into the waiting times on things. Nicole, still waiting on Maiden from 2020, and that's what we're talking about. It's better to get on with it or cancel. This postponement just isn't a thing. I don't think it's viable anymore. I just don't think it's worth it anymore.
So that's the thing. Like when Maiden postponed, I think it was May 2020.
Yeah.
At that time, people were thinking, "Oh yeah, 6 months will be fine."
Yeah.
And now it's 2 years later, and you're still out of pocket, not touring, and just give people their money back.
Yeah, and I think that's going to bite more in light of recent events like interest rate rises and things like that as well. So I think that a bit of a give and take aspect to this, but I think that get on with it or cancel it. The postponements need to stop. Brendan also said Mason just announced the first show with a new lineup at Jam Sound Studios in Melbourne. Cool, I have to check that out. I haven't seen what that's about yet. I'll have to go and look that up. But thank you for the heads up on that one. Nicole's gone. It was my Mother's Day present, and now it's nearly Mother's Day 2 years later. So there we go. Bloody hell. A lot of people are waiting on that one. So you're not alone there at all. But let us know what you think. I think that it's an underrated idea. I think it should be explored more wherever possible. It is hard, but I think that where possible, on with the show, as they say. All right. Anything else you want to add there, Tim, or should we get stuck into the reviews and move on? Let's do it. All righty. First review is one that, Tim, I know you wanted to get to, so I'm glad you're able to join us for this one tonight. This is the latest from Ocean Grove. And it's funny because the track I've chosen as the reference track is the newest video, and it's a song called Bored, which features Dune Rats. So there's a couple of bands that Tim loves in one song there. So the band is Ocean Grove. The song is Bored. That is your reference track for the new album we're going to talk about in a second. It's in the comments, in the description box. So check it out. Let us know what you think while we get into this review. This is Ocean Grove with Up in the Air Forever. 10 tracks for 33 minutes. This third studio album of the Melbourne band, released April 2022 via UNFD. Produced by the band's own Sam Bassel. 4 singles have been released from this, including Callie's Sun and Silver Lining. Not a band on the show we spent a lot of time talking about, but I know that, like I said here, Original Tim was looking forward to this one. And much or all of their work seems to be inspired by their own alternate reality called Oddworld. And there are guest spots on this one from Little Aaron and Dune Rats, which we also just discussed as well. So, Tim, did it give you what you were hoping for?
It really did. Look, cool. This is not going to be for everyone.
No, that's true.
But if it does tickle your fancy, you will quite like it. I think because it's got this. Just I say this because a lot of the words I'm going to use now, or a lot of the words I'm going to use to describe hysteria later on. And people are going to shoot me for making that comparison, but here we go. But it does have this denseness to it, with this synth backing to it, and a nice guitar track behind it. And then there's that vocal that just sits on top of it, and it's a very catchy vocal.
Yeah.
Right? And with hooks that stick with you. And they're really well-written songs. I think the choruses are quite... In some cases, they're a little Manson-esque as well.
Okay, yeah.
But in other cases, again, they're just great, rock and roll choruses. And I think, it's not anything that's we haven't heard before. It's not anything that's particularly, they're not reinventing the wheel, but it's, it's just a good, solid hard rock album. And I think you really enjoyed listening to it. I thought the songs were catchy. I thought the mix was great. I thought the performances were really good. I thought the way they used push and pull and built up to the choruses were really, really well done. I thought they used the space really well. And overall, I thought it was just a good listen. So, yeah, I really did enjoy it. I thought 8 out of 10. And Bustin' was my highlight.
Cool. Yeah, you're right. It's not going to be one that's for absolutely everyone. But at the same time, like you said, if it gets you, if it manages to hook you, you're going to enjoy the ride. I did a bit of reading before I listened to it, and, from that you expect something a little bit different. And they are a bit out of the box, but they do something that's unique and cool, but also very accessible at the same time. There's a bit going on here, but at the end of it all, it's still rooted in sort of hard rock and metal. Even with the opening track being a sort of semi-rapped vocal style, it still has that, foundation in that, like you said, Manson-esque kind of riffage kind of idea there. That makes sense when you think. I didn't think about it like that, but now when you say that, it makes sense what you're saying. Loaded with hooks, lots of infectious energy. This is meant to be fun, and it is. It's one of those ones that, like, if I thought you'd like it, if Dave was here, I don't think he'd like it. You know what I mean?
I'd hate it.
He'd hate it, and so it'd be, depending. It's one of those things where, depending on your taste, it'll be how you respond to this one. I thought the production was pretty rich, very well done. There's a fair bit going on with layering effects and different tones, but credit where due, it's very well balanced. It's very well put together. Still plenty of grunt in it though. Don't let that, don't make it sound like there's, like you mentioned, synth as well, and it's a part of it, but it's not over the top. Like, it's still, built around the riff and the melody kind of thing. There's a fair bit of polish on this one, which is a good offset against the sort of, it's one of those bands that has that, it's not, but it sounds like that lazy vocal approach kind of thing. It's meant to be that sort of the surfer kind of vibe. It's like, yeah, I'm doing it because, and it's just almost not quite, and
it was recorded in thongs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But to do that style and to do it well and not come off half-assed is actually very difficult to do, and they've nailed it in the execution on that front. So yeah, that lackadaisical kind of a vocal against this sort of songs works really well, and it adds to that sort of summer fun kind of vibe when you listen to this one. This is go off.
It's amazing. It's amazing how, like, because I'm just thinking about it now, like how much that like surfer thing has taken over like popular Australian rock.
Yeah,
between Ocean Grove and Dune Rats and all the way up to Parkway Drive.
Yeah, yep.
There's
something in that. Yeah, we'd have to dig a bit deeper into that. I don't think we've had anything quite like this since the early days of Midnight Oil. I don't think. personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting little quirk. Everything goes in phases. We're going through a bit of a phase of this one at the moment. Tracks like Callie's Son, that one was almost like a poppy version of Killing Joke. So I didn't get Manson, but I got a bit of a Killing Joke kind of a vibe with the way the riffing was going on. You can easily see why they picked the singles that they did on this one. The album flows really nicely. The gear shifts are executed really well. The transition from Callie's Son to Bustin' is seamless, as is the whole listen. It's short. It keeps you locked in for the whole way. And the slower touches are very, very sweet on this one as well. But that's, those songs are perfect for radio. But at the same time, there's still a cool bit of attitude across the board on this one as well. Hit Me Up, HMU. That was an interesting little interlude middle track. It had a lot of commercial pop about it. And I'm curious about, I want to hear, if Dave heard one song from this album, I want it to be that one just to see how far it can make him, blow a vein in his neck kind of thing.
But man, no, in all seriousness, where's Triple M on this one?
No, Triple M should be pumping this, and I completely. This has so many perfect for radio songs, especially in Australia. I reckon this will go great in Europe, great in the UK, probably good in the US. It would go off in Australia if radio would support it, and they should, because this is perfect. There's even Bored. I reckon that with Dune Rats is a fucking cracker. It's my favorite song on the record. Perfect for radio. Absolutely perfect. The Triple M should play that to death. That should be on rotation just as heavily as Foo Fighters is for them, because it's that good of a song for that market.
And it fit their audience.
It would, absolutely. All the tradies would love this. I mean, if they're willing to play the Chats, they can play this. Yeah. That to me is where it sums it up. They've got this knack about this one where it makes you feel like it's all very relaxed, but the energy is very, very cool. And the 80s little touch on the closing title track was another element in the whole thing. It's got a bit of a Stranger Things vibe in the way the synth and the bass gets to take the lead and the way the blending is done there. I don't know, put me in mind of Stranger Things a bit. So there's a lot going on in this. It's pop through to metal. There's a fair bit going on in this record. It's a nice little listen, but it's all done in just over half an hour. It's very, very well done. It'll come down to taste, so check it out and make up your own mind. But it's not a go-to one for me, but it is one that I am going to revisit because this is a lot more fun than I expected it to be. And I don't know if my review is surprising you or not, Tim, but I did actually enjoy this one quite a bit. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I picked Bored, Callie's Son, and Sex Dope Gold, believe it or not. Those are my 3 standouts on this one. But Bored definitely is the track for mine. So I'm glad they put that as a video because that gave me a chance to share it around. But, that was cool. I did enjoy that one. Back to Nicole with Mother's Day gifts for a second. She swapped out the tickets for Iron Maiden for Trooper beer instead. Not a bad trade. At least you could consume the beer. So there we go. And Jeff's with us tonight. So hi, lads. Hope you're both well. Yes, we are. Thank you for joining us, mate. Good to see you again, as always. What do we got here? Nicole says, for that style, it sounded good. Then Darren says, not feeling it. So it is one of those ones where it is going to come down to taste, definitely. So let us know what you think out there. Ocean Grove, very good fun. But now we're going to, again, as always, change gears. And this is one that I think will please a great many of the audience out there tonight. So check this one out. If you check out one thing tonight, this is probably the one that's most geared to most of our audience, I would think. I think that's a fair assumption there, Tim, with Dorothy.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is the latest. This is Dorothy. It's a Beautiful Life. So the band is Dorothy. The song is A Beautiful Life. That's been released a few days ago, this video now. And the album is Gifts from the Holy Ghost. So let's get into that one. Dorothy with Gifts from the Holy Ghost. 10 tracks, 37 minutes. The third studio album of the American band, released April 2022 via Rock Nation Records. Produced by Chris Lord-Alge. 2 singles been released in Rest in Peace and Black Sheep. This album sees Dorothy return to a more guitar-driven sound and seems to take some inspiration from apparently finding her guitar tech dead from a drug overdose, who then came back from the dead, basically leading to something of a spiritual awakening for Dorothy herself. We've had a lot of love for this group over the years, particularly on the last album. You, Tim, and Brendan in particular adored that last one. So how did this stack up after that?
Really good, actually. Really, really good. So, yeah, the first album is very American hard rock.
Yes.
And modern American radio rock. The second album had this really laid back, almost campfire rock blues kind of vibe.
Yep.
And this one managed to sort of blend the two really nicely while adding some new tricks on top of it.
Yep.
And so I thought it was really, from that perspective, it sounded fantastic. There is something for everybody on here, and the songs are fantastic as well.
Yep.
I thought, first standout for me is the drum tone, and that's the one that they kept from the previous album. You know, that beautiful old jazzy tones. Sounds absolutely massive, and mixed up with that guitar tone.
Yep.
Which is again that very very mid heavy, which works because the vocals is the rest of the vocals really sit up and let her do her thing. What I thought was really good here is the way, quite often when you have a vocalist with a big vocal, they have a tendency to oversing.
Yeah.
And it leaves them with nowhere to go. Where what they were very careful to do on this album was to kind of rein her in. So then when the time did come for it to hit the home run, there was plenty of room for it to go, and she was able to knock it out. And you should see she does it in quite a few tracks in here.
Yeah.
And it really just helps everything stand out, and it gives it a huge pop. And obviously we're talking about the vocals because, I mean, if you listen to the track, you can tell who the star is in the on the record. And, song-wise, there's barely a weak track on here.
Yep.
So I think there's, they're all great songs. There's some better than others, obviously, but there are some, more personal moments on here. Obviously, as you mentioned with the story there, and I mean, if you followed her on socials, there was some personal changes seem to be being made, and obviously when a musician does that, we all get a little bit worried. But the music's going to suffer. But no, this did not happen. She absolutely knocked us out of the park, and it's an absolute stunning. Wish she'd come to Australia because I'd love to see her.
Oh, fuck that! Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you will see the clips of her playing live too. It's just fucking stunning. Amazing vocalist. Amazing vocalist, amazing band, just everything about this. Should be an absolute superstar all around the world. Not sure what's going on yet, but she's not far away from it now, surely.
Surely not.
Beautiful life, rest in peace, top of the world, Black Sheep, 9 out of 10, stunning album. I took a point off for fuck knows why, but probably. I think the last album was like number 6 or 5 in the top 10s, and this would probably be somewhere around the same spot for the end of this year.
It's a good one. I reckon a tour with these guys and the Pretty Reckless would be a fucking great 1-2 punch.
Oh my god!
Imagine that as a bill. That'd be awesome. Sign me up. Now I enjoyed the last album, but not as much as you and Brendan did. But this one, for mine, from the opening note, the guitar comes in and it's just fucking bang, and it's a different beast. The feel is different. It just got my attention straight away. Between the guitars and the vocals, this has everything you want. The vocals, like you said, Dorothy is the absolute standout on this one by a long, long way. But yeah, everything around that is just perfectly done. So writing, performances, all those things are just done to allow her to shine so well. But like you said, they pulled her in so that when she did swing for the fences, it got there and then some. So it's really well executed from top to bottom. The mix is included in that. Plenty of grunt, but it's still really warm. The vocal layering is just beautiful in this one. It drives things home, and there's some great use of space on this as well. Not a lot of tricks. It's still about the tones. Like you said, the drum tone of that as well. But it's just really well laid. It's vocal-centric. It deserves to be. But everything is just the perfect stage for that spotlight to shine. And if you go through the songwriting credits, there's a few people involved in this one. And I don't object to that in this case because every song is different to the next one and they all fucking work. None of this feels like you wouldn't think there were songwriting credits when you listen to it. Unless you go digging through it, you wouldn't think it because the whole thing just flows like a complete piece. The track order is great. The flow on this is brilliant. Whoever pissed her off has been utterly laid out by the track. Rest in peace. There's no names, but that is one of the best sort of quote-unquote diss tracks I've ever heard. Like, that is just putting someone in the grave. Yeah. It's like, good luck.
That's probably my favorite track on the album, too. Honestly.
Yeah, it's like whoever did that to her or got her to that place, from my point of view, thank you, because that song is fucking worth it. Like, that was fantastic. There's some nice diversity on this album, too. It's not a one-trick pony at all. Like, this band isn't in general, but this album in particular showcases a lot more of her ability. The softer touches and the heavier touches are both well done on this one. This album has everything you want. Time flies by, and this is one you got to spend some time with as well. There's a lot going on in this one that's worth more than just a casual listen. Sit down with this one. Take it in. It's well worth it. It'll reward you. There's a lot of sass, a lot of attitude in this one. Bit of a throwback touch with tracks like Hurricane as well. That would go. I reckon Hurricane on radio here would be fantastic as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That would be a great track for radio here. You know, the groove and the synth and the hook, that just sells that song to me. You got heartfelt stuff, tracks like Close to Me Always. That one, you know, is almost like a mourning kind of a song where, you know, you've lost someone, you've come home and they put the record on kind of thing. That was a really nice touch on this record as well. Every song tells
well placed on the album too.
It is really well placed on the album. That was fantastically done. The whole track order here was brilliant. The only thing this doesn't have is, you know, heaps of, you know, classic guitar solos, but I actually didn't miss it. I didn't feel the need for those to be in these songs. I thought you got all the flash you wanted. You got a little bit of solos here and there, but I think
the vocals took that place.
Yeah, I agree, and it was just funny because I only noticed that on about my fourth or fifth pass. I've listened to the album heaps, so I don't know how many times I've listened to it now. But on about the fourth or fifth pass, I've gone, hang on, there aren't many solos here. You don't even think about it until you've listened to it that many times, kind of thing. And it's like, I don't care. I thought it was great without it. This is just fantastic. If you like, you know, melodic hard rock at all, get onto it because her vocal tone is one of the best going around. Her vocals are to die for, if nothing else. And the blues touch in the closing track just caps it all off nicely. You know, not reinventing the wheel at all, but you don't have to when you do it this fucking well. This could well be a top 10 contender for me, just like you this time around. So this one has thoroughly impressed me. 9 out of 10, same as you. Rest in Peace, Black Sheep, and Top of the World, my standouts on this one. So very
and
cool.
she does seem to be in a better place too this time around.
Yeah.
So the changes have been for the better.
Yeah, even in I don't know if you agree with this, but even in the videos, like the videos feel more directed, cohesive. The last one, I know there was a bit of a vibe where things were a bit more flowy and stuff, and a bit more.
Well, I mean, she found a guitar tech, you know, dead from a heroin overdose. I think my favorite track on the last album was like Pretty When You're High and Black Tar and Nicotine and
it's a big,
so there's obviously been a lot of changes. So not to speculate, but
no, well, you can only go what you see, and we don't know her at all. But the I agree with you. From what you're seeing from the outside looking in, there's been
things look much. There's definitely been some shifts, and things look much clearer and much better for it. And it comes out in the album. Yeah, like I said, it's a very cohesive album, and it's very like I said, she's put out one very, very good album, in my opinion anyway, one very, very good album, and two knocked out of the park. So I don't know. She keeps going like this, like there's no stopping her.
And I agree. And nor should there be any stopping her because this is fantastic. If that clarity you mentioned seems to me to have brought out a bit more focus, if that makes sense. And that those elements combined have just really sort of given this one that lightning rod moment.
Well, this album seems to be more visible as well. Like, I mean, the last album, outside of us, I didn't really see it.
Yeah, true.
You know, so that helps too. You know, I mean, and again, you know, when you're making, you know, these kinds of personal changes, putting together promotional strategy that works is, easier as well. So, hopefully, the trajectory continues because, everybody should be listening to it.
Yeah, no, completely agree. This is one to check out. Please do, and let us know what you think. I know I got some comments on the vocal, so we'll go and scroll through those quickly. Darren says here, yep, Dorothy, great rock voice. Nicola says the same thing, such a great voice, which is true. Jeff says, if you like Dorothy, check out Sass Jordan. Carbon copy as far as sound, both great singers. Sass is fantastic. I do agree with that, Jeff. Basher says, great review, Tim and Andrew. Killer album. Can't stop listening to it. Bring on Dorothy and the Pretty Reckless. I'm glad we're not the only ones. That would be a fucking amazing. My God, I'd be there in a heartbeat. Cool, Belle. Good to see you, Belle. Hi, Andrew and Tim. Love Dorothy. There wasn't a song in this album I didn't enjoy. Awesome. So again, more love all around for that album. Please do keep that love going. And if you feel inclined, let's help get the word out, this one out there. Just give it a share on your social page or somewhere and go, just check out one song from it. And I think it'll hook a lot of people if we can just sort of use what we have at our disposal to sort of make more people aware of it. It's fucking great. All right. We're going to go on to let's do it, Tim, because this is a band that you and I both adore. You and I both adore this band, so let's see how we win. This is the latest from Rammstein, and that's the band. You should know the band, Rammstein. The new single, the new video is only a few days old now. It's called Angst. So Rammstein with Angst is your reference track in the comments in the box. And yes, please do go and check it out while we go and talk about the new album from the band. So this is Rammstein with Zeit. 11 tracks, 44 minutes, the 8th studio album of the German band, released April 2022 via Universal. Produced by the band with Olsen Involtini at La Fabrique in France. 3 singles have been released, including Zig Zag and the title track. This album is a definite COVID baby, as this only came about after they were unable to tour in support of their Untitled album in 2019. So they went back to the studio after jamming a bit and figured they had enough there to write some more songs and do another album. And one of the quirkiest sides on this one was that the album art on this was the photo, Tim, was taken by Bryan Adams, the Canadian rocker. Like, he took the photo that's the album. Wow. I couldn't believe when I read that. I'm like, fucking hell, okay, cool. That's all right. So, Tim, you and I both love the band. How did you go?
Look, okay, so I love this album. But what I will say is, I think you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
That's true.
Now, remember when Zeke came out and it was like, it was definitely on the softer side of Rammstein, but it was still in their wheelhouse. In hindsight, I actually think it was a perfect choice for a single because it gave you what to expect on this album.
Yes.
Which was a very dark, very brooding, and very intense listen, and a powerful listen without being overly loud and punchy with that strong backbeat. There's much more focus on mood and much more focus on lyrics and not so much, or not lyrics, but that almost rock opera pronunciation and drama in the delivery of the vocals.
Drama, yes, definitely a lot more drama.
Yeah, drama is the correct word. Now, that's not to say there's not bangers on here because it does slope up towards the middle of the album with, Zig Zag and Okay and Angst and all that. But then it also doesn't, you start to get your little come down towards the end as well. Overall, though, I think it's really, really well put together album, and it's as a standalone piece amongst some of the great Rammstein albums, it's gonna fit in perfectly. And I don't think for me personally, I don't think these guys put out bad albums, and I think they've continued to trend here as well. Yeah. I think they've done a really great job of making an album that's dark and intense and heavy without having to be heavy. And I think it's again, one of the things that I love about this band is how much thought they put into the note choices and how much thought they put into tone and how much thought they put into, any noise can be musical, and if you use it the right way, and that's what they've done here. Really, really, really well put together. So, I'll let Andrew do the pronunciation. He's much better at this than I am. But, Armady Tristan, Griftig, and Angst for my highlights. Yeah, 9 out of 10.
So Arme de Tristan, Giftig, and Zeit.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying? Yep. Cool.
Yep.
Yep. There we go. I can do that one. A lot of the other ones I struggle with, but I can do this one. So that's all right for me. What did you give out of 10 again? Sorry, I just missed it personally.
9.
9. Yeah, cool. This one, what you said is exactly right. What you put in is what you get out with this record. And this, to me, follows the same pattern as what you got. Like, for me, Mutter was a fantastic album, one of the best ones they've done. And then that was followed up by Riser. And that one is the same sort of feel. It was a slower, more somber kind of record, not as heavy, not as punchy, whereas Mutter had a lot more bang to it. This follows the same pattern. And because this is what I really enjoyed about it is the overall atmosphere on this record, because it's a COVID thing. So they're all locked down. They can't tour their album. They're just shut down. And they got nothing to do but sit in the studio and write songs. And credit to them for not chasing the dragon and trying to force those big bangers. They've just gone, this is what we've got, and this is what we're putting out. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. I don't think it's the best album they've ever done. I mean, coming off of the self-titled or untitled album last time around, that's hard to top. So, I want to do a thing later on where you and I will sit down and rank the Rammstein albums and see which ones we come out with on top and stuff. That'll be an interesting little experiment between you and I in particular. Because I know that you love Riser as well. So there's a lot of great stuff. It's just a case of it just for me, it would follow that little pattern that you had Mutter, and then you had Riser. You have the untitled album, now you've got Zeit. And I think that building one that's dark, brooding, has a different kind of intensity about it. And like I said, they weren't chasing the big punchy Ich tue dir weh or they're a long way removed from Du hast these days. They're a long way. Like, it's still a staple part of their sound. They play it every time they play live, but you've only that Sehnsucht album and what they did before on Herzeleid they've progressively shifted away.
Those albums are 25 years old now.
Yeah, I know. And all these guys are in their 60s or 50s, late 50s, early 60s kind of thing. So for me, there's still a lot of bang for buck in this one. They don't sit here and think this is the tamest thing I've ever done. It's a long, long way from that. It's just that it's a different kind of intensity about it, which I thought was really, like you said, the brooding, the drama. It doesn't matter about the language barrier. Like, you feel it straight away. Like, it's there. It's an oppressive atmosphere, and that's why they've always been very good at taking in the world around them and incorporating it in their music. And they've done. But
this is why I think they the language works for them, because obviously when you're singing in your native tongue, there's a tempo to how things are said, and there's a tone as to which how things are said, and they've got an understanding of that, and the way they use it and the way they use it is much better than because we've heard them sing English songs before.
Yeah. Yep.
And they do odd English covers live and all that. Yeah. It just doesn't work the same. There's that drama is not quite as there.
Yeah. Even Till's solo work with his Lindemann project, I don't find that as enjoyable as he is in Rammstein. Like, there's a definite in delivery. And he's good at English. He perfectly understands English. It's not a problem of language, but just using German in the way they do.
Again, because there's a natural tempo to things.
Yeah.
That you have when you speak in your native language.
Yeah. It's also, having been between the countries, when you're speaking a different language, you have to learn to also think in that language, kind of thing too. So doing it in your native, you're in a different headspace entirely. So when you're switching from one language to another, you're also switching sort of headspace entirely. And for these guys, what they do in their mother tongue is brilliant. I couldn't imagine. Like, I don't want to hear these guys do English versions of these songs. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear this. Like, this is what I want.
If anything, we want German versions of Pussy.
Yes, definitely. To be fair, it's about 50-50 split on that song, but yeah, definitely. Now, I'm biased. I'm like you. I don't think these guys put out a bad record at all. The tone was definitely set with the lead single. Sight was perfect as the one to set the tone for what you're going to get out of this. But the latest one, Angst, does the same thing. And if you dig into the lyrics on that one, they're not pulling back on any of the social commentary either. They're being very, very clever about how they do things. And if you pick up any of the lyrics in this, you're going to get my point pretty quickly about they're talking about the black man and stuff. And there's a lot of things like there's a lot to take in this one. And it's not what you think for whatever you might think, but the way they combine these things is very well done. There's also a neat trick. What song was it? Where am I? I got a note on this one too. Dicker Titten, which means big tits. But the funny thing is about that song is that is a bit of a wink and a nod to what you thought of old Rammstein with things like Book Dich and all that kind of stuff. But then you get this one, and this is like the older version of a song similar to that. So young, you're, whatever, you're after this, that, and the other. This song's just on a companionship. I just want someone to spend my days with, just want that sort of stuff, but they've got to have big tits. And that's the punchline at the end of the chorus kind of thing. That's what it's all about. But the stuff beforehand, like the tone for that song is set up. There's a little folk song in Germany, which I forget, Mussi Den, and that's the one that they played that little folk music thing at the start of that song. That's Mussi Den, which is about, it was an old patriotic song that was about, going away for 7 years and then coming home to your love kind of thing. So it's about that passage of time, being older and all that kind of stuff. So the way they've linked those two different concepts together in the same song is very, very cool. And across this whole record, I found musical little throwbacks in times or riffs or tempos or tones, even just throwbacks. Nothing's rehashed or borrowed again, kind of stuff. It's just moments where if you're a long-time fan of this band, you'll go, "Ooh, I know where that came from, what album that was from." There's just a reference callback. Nothing copy-paste, but just little reference callbacks for you, which are great to take in for a long-time fan. And at this point in time, they're not trying to win new fans. They're known worldwide. They can go anywhere and play the sold-out show, so they're good. They're just doing. That's why I said I'm glad they didn't try and chase what wasn't there. They just went with what they had, and this feels right. It's dark, it's brooding. The production is fantastic. It's one of those ones where even if this, like you said, what you put in is what you get out. Spend some time with this one to take it in fully because it's well worth it. Performances, production across this are fantastic. Never expect anything less from this band. But you got heavy punches on this one too, like Angst, Zigzag. Those are great songs. And again, Zigzag is another one where the lyrical content, the story being told about, cutting and just sort of carving yourself up to try and look young forever. And the video does a great job of displaying that as well for the record. But they just, all of this is just, the band is getting a bit older, and this is a very morose time for them to record. This was recorded across 2021 and I think a bit of 2020 as well. And so it's definitely a product of the times. It's darker, more brooding. It's one of those albums where my score isn't quite as high as yours because I rank certain albums like to die for me. But at the same time, this is extremely good. And one of those ones where even though my score isn't as high as you might expect, it's still a high score, don't worry. But the thing is that it's one of those ones where I can see it now being at the end of the year. I'll sit there and go, yeah, it's a top 10 album because it's one of those ones that's going to drag you back to it over and over again because this just stays with you. The song Zeit, about the passage of time, is just fucking beautifully done. That song alone is worth the price of entry. It was a great lead single. It's a standout on the album for me, but I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it from top to bottom. If you like this band at all, get onto it. 8.5 out of 10. Angst, Zeit, and Dicker Titten were my standouts in this one. But anyway, whichever way you look at it, I've got new albums this year from Ghost and Rammstein. 2022 is fucking fantastic for me. So I'm
That's it, man. That's it.
I don't give a shit. Like I could do that's the year done and I'll be happy. Like that's fantastic for me. So, and we're only like about a quarter or a third of the way through now. So yeah, happy days for me. I loved it. I think it's fantastic. So let us know what you think out there. It's a long way for us to get around and say we love it, but we do. Nudes has gone. Goodbye. He's putting the kids to bed. Hopefully your kids sleep well and hopefully you have a good night for the rest of it as well. Here we go. Nicole's gone the other way. Nicole's gone, I love the music, but I wish he sung in English. No, German is the point. I'm going to scroll through. Bell,
well,
again.
The thing is right. Like, English as a language is German with a Latin grammar book.
Yeah, it's
like there are a lot of German words that if you think about it, you'll pick it up.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
And in fact, there are a lot of words that are just exactly the same.
Yeah, and even if not, the ability to find a translation is not that hard. And once you get your head around it, you don't have to understand the entire language.
Well, what's hello in German?
Hello.
Exactly.
Hello. It's slightly different pronunciation. It's pretty much hello. Like, it's the same thing. Goodbye is a bit different. You got a few versions of that, but
yeah.
But
I love how, like, suspiciously, there is a ton of slang terms for my struggle.
Yes.
Because you can't say my struggle.
No.
Google it, kids.
Yes, Google it. You'll know where that one's going pretty quickly, especially if you're a bookworm. But yeah, no, I. It's funny because Nicole has followed up with "I like to sing along." So I get that, but I love that
I just sing along, man. I don't know what he's saying half the time either. Just sing along.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I've got some background, so I don't understand every single word yet. But at the same time, give me enough time to sit with it, and I'll get it pretty quickly, kind of thing. This is, very, very cool. It's a very dark album, though, across the board. Like, yeah, you're right on about the vibe. The lyrics match the vibe very quickly, and there's some insidious stuff going in this one too. But again, I liked how there was some...
But there's a place for that, as well, you know?
I agree. But also, it's the same thing too, like when they were young, their version of young music was much more... for lack of a better term, blunt and direct. Now this one's a bit more darker poetry kind of a thing, which in the language makes sense in the way they're doing it, it's a maturing band. And like I said, they're in their 50s and 60s. It's like, it's going to happen. But this is not a tame album. Don't think for a second it's tame. It's not tame at all.
It's intense. It's intense in a different way.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You got to get out of it what you put into it, because if you play it once through, listen to it in the background, you're not going to get the full...
No.
Vibe of what's going on.
This is a headphones.
You gotta let it punch in the face.
Yeah, and sit with it too. Like, let it hit you, and just go, okay. What is it? What? Yeah, it'll resonate. It will resonate, especially if you felt anything the last couple of years. This will resonate with you. There's a thing about it. It's a perfect. It's not an aggressive vent kind of an album. It's a cathartic kind of album in its own way as well. I feel, which is a neat trick. Bell loved it, though. Bell's gone Rammstein. This album is stunning. It's early days, but it might already replace Mutter as my favorite Rammstein album. That's a huge call. Wow. Wow. I'm glad that you enjoyed it that much. I love it. I think it's brilliant. It's hard for me to top Mutter or the Untitled album personally. But yeah, we should do like a draft of best songs, you and I, as well. So there we go. What do we got here? Darren says, I've never given Rammstein a serious listen, but I'm getting the impression that they're one of the biggest bands around these days. YouTube views alone outdo most of the bands. Zigzag, 18 million views in 3 weeks. Angst, nearly 8 million in only 4 days. Call Me Little Sunshine with nearly 8 million views in 3 months. I have a whole new appreciation for Rammstein. They are huge. They don't get a lot of Australia, but they are massive overseas.
They're a stadium band.
Yeah, they do some of the biggest.
Like they're a band that plays like 30,000 seat soccer stadiums and sells them out instantly.
Yeah, and getting tickets is fucking hard. Like they are so in-demand, it's not funny. Definitely one of the biggest bands in the world as far as I'm concerned.
You remember as well, like one of the downsides of the singing in German is you're not going to get a lot of non-European media.
True. Yeah, and that's why they have the shock value videos, but that makes sense with the content.
Yeah, that's why sort of outside of Europe, you kind of perhaps don't get the perspective of how big the band is.
I think it's also to do with the subject matter, like the videos in traditional Western society, like Australia, England, America. they struggle with the concepts being illustrated in the videos and the subject matter of the songs. Like we're watching America go through, they're going through by, the Wade versus Roe shit at the moment, and compared to a much more progressive European stance on things, Germany and other countries are far further ahead in these ideals and conversation points.
Well, I mean, I remember when I first saw the video to America.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And it's like that's not getting played in America.
No, it's not getting played much here either. So
no.
Those are the things. The same with Mind Tile, that where he's ripping the wings off of the angel while it's giving him a head job kind of thing. These are things that for traditional valued societies like what we have here in Australia, you're not going to get a lot of media coverage for these guys because a lot of people are going to go, I'm not even going near it. And it's like
we talked about like Ocean Grove being perfect for Triple M. Like Triple M's not touching. Triple M's not touching Rammstein.
No, it's like we're talking Dorothy and fucking my mind is fried. Ocean Grove are definitely going to get rated here in Australia. Rammstein not so much. So, it's one of those things, unfortunately. I love them the bits. I'm so glad I found these guys so many years ago. They've been a perfect or personal favorite of mine for quite some time, and this album does stack up against the rest. Like you said, they don't release a bad track for mine. I love everything they've done, but yeah, I prefer the German to the English by a long way though. Lee says a grand Teutonic rock opera, grand production and eloquent in every way. Absolutely agree, Lee. Very well put. Language is rock and roll. So many other metal bands have great tracks in other languages. That is absolutely true. We just went through what we've gone through with the we did the Indian one a few weeks ago or a few months ago now, and we did the alien weaponry as well. Like language is really not the.
That's the thing. I mean, music is universal, and especially the past couple of years, we've all gone through similar experiences worldwide.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. Nicole's following it up by saying, English is the worst language, but aside from Latin, it's the only one I know. So there we go. I'm not fluent. I can understand a lot more than I can speak, but I can survive over there if I had to, kind of thing.
Germany.
All right. Huh? Sorry?
Germany.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you if I was to spend a couple of weeks over there, it wouldn't take long for it to start filtering back in again. So
I know enough German to check into a hotel and order food.
That's all you need. And besides which, mate, most places you go in, they'll speak English to you anyway. If you go to Munich and you try to speak English, if you try to speak German, they'll know straight away and they'll start speaking English to you. And it's like that.
Exactly. It's not like it's not like going through like Italy where it's like
Italy's different.
You know as much Italian as they know as much English.
Yeah. And France is different because they don't want to speak English. So
no, but see, what I found with France is like they just want you to make an effort.
That's true. I'm generalizing.
If you make a little bit of effort and learn how to be polite, please, thank you, hello, goodbye, they're fine.
Yeah, that's exactly the term. Be polite, show a little
respect.
Which I
mean is not dissimilar to Australia, to be honest.
How many people do we know would prefer the other way around? You know what I mean? So, yes, that's a very true statement there. All right, before we get to the main event, I'm going to do a gig plug. I haven't done it yet, so I know everyone's waiting for Def Leppard. We'll get to that in a second, and I'm curious about that review. But in the comments now, I will put it in the description box later on, but in the comments now, there's a little gig plug. This is the Vendettas. They are launching their new single, 6 Feet Under, with support from Stone Trip and the Dreadful Tides, who've also released a cracking cover of NIB from Black Sabbath. They're playing at Bar Open in Fitzroy, 8 p.m. Friday, May 13, 2022. So a couple of weeks away. Get onto that one, and that's going to be a very cool little gig. So the Vendettas are launching their new single, 6 Feet Under. I'm pretty sure there's a video to go with it. If not, then the new single is coming out on the 9th, I think it is, from memory. But the launch show, Friday, May 13, with support from Stone Trip, which is fantastic as well. By the way, their EP is brilliant. And the Dreadful Tides have released a cracking new cover too. Bar Open, Fitzroy, 8 p.m. Friday, May 13, 2022. Be there, people. Get amongst it. All good bands on that lineup. Actually, a fucking cracking.
To that. Vendettas are a very good band.
They are. That is a cracking lineup. That really is. Stone Trip are good too. Dreadful Tides are good. Fuck, there's not a bad second on that lineup, is there? And that'd be a good little venue for that. That gig, that'll be, yeah. Ooh, tempted. Very tempted. All right. Before I get any more tempted, let's get on to the final album of the evening. This is the main event, which is the classic album Patreon choice review. The reference track is in the comments in the description box. I've gone with the all-time classic Women from the mighty Def Leppard. So the band is Def Leppard, is Women. That is your reference track for this evening's classic album review. Without any further ado, let's get stuck in. This is Def Leppard with Hysteria. 12 tracks, 62 minutes. The fourth studio album the English band released August 1987 via Phonogram and Mercury. Produced by Mutt Lange in 3 different cities in Netherlands, Ireland, and France. 7 singles were released, including Pour Some Sugar on Me and Animal. This album peaked number 1 in the US, UK, Australia, Norway, and New Zealand, and is so far the band's highest-selling record, moving over 20 million units worldwide. It's been certified 12 times platinum in the US, 4 times platinum here in Australia, 2 times platinum in the UK, diamond in Canada, platinum in both New Zealand and Switzerland, as well as gold in Norway and Sweden. This is the last album with Steve Clark on guitar and was intentionally written with the goal to be a hard rock version of Thriller, in that each and every song could be a hit single. The album is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year, and it's this week's Patreon Choice Classic Album Review, so you know what to do. If you want to get involved in the voting of that, check out our Patreon page. Just sign up for the cheapest tier you want, $2 a month, $2 Australian a month, and you can get your votes in every week on that one, as well as getting a whole bunch of extra stuff sent to your inbox. But here we go. Tim, how did you go?
I have not heard this album in a very long time prior to this week. It's interesting because this is the one, but when it comes to Def Leppard and being this is the mainstream one, the one that everyone knows. But I do wonder, is this amongst the hardcores? Is this the best Def Leppard album?
You'll get some debate on that one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to pretend like I've heard everything from Def Leppard, but I think there are a couple of other albums that are probably better than it.
Argue, yep.
Having said that, I mean, they definitely achieved their goal for being the every song wanting to be feeling like a lead single kind of vibe. And I mean, there are at least 7 of them, so and they're all pretty successful.
Yes.
Yeah, and it does have that kind of poppy metal kind of vibe in its production. It's very dense, very synth heavy, very vocal driven. It's very much built for an American market. Yeah. Having said that, I mean, and it's also got the ultimate comeback story.
Yeah.
With everything but spontaneous combustion.
Yeah.
Happening to said drummers.
Yes.
We are a crazy bunch.
Yes.
But like, one of the things you can't deny with this album, and I mean, we've reviewed tons of new albums this year and last year and the year before that have this album's fingerprints all over it, and that's on what more can you ask for an album that this is the sort of album that every band dreams of making, and they how can you criticize that? I mean,
if you
personally, I'm not a fan. Exactly. For me personally, I'm not a fan of the ballad side of this. I think it's like Love Bites and a few other songs as well. Like they're just too cheesy for me. Like I can't do them.
Yeah.
But I mean, when it comes to the rest of the album, I mean, like Rocket and all that.
Yeah.
They are fantastic rock songs, and I think for me, I think the production is almost a little bit of a shame because it timestamps it. And I think if you were to strip them back and just give it, meat and potatoes production, put a mic in front of it and play it, and not have it as dense and mixed the way that it is, I think it would actually stand the test of time much better. Having said that, if you'd done that, it wouldn't have had the mass appeal, particularly in the US market as at the time. So you get what you give. That's just me being complaining for the sake of it. Why haven't they made this album specifically for me? But like it's like the songs on here stand the test of time. Which is a credit to the band. And I mean, they last toured here Can't remember when, but I mean, they still, sold out Rod Laver or came very close to it. So, they're still standing the test of time. So, it's a good listen. I was glad to have listened to it again this week because, again, it would have been 5 or 6 years since I last heard it last. And, the songs stay with you. So, you can't say much more than that. 8 out of 10. I think Woman's by far the highlight, though.
Yeah.
That is a cracker. Absolute cracker of a song.
We are getting some comments about people's favorite albums and all that sort of stuff. So we'll I'll get to them in a second. All right. This was a monster when it came out. Fuck me dead. When this came out, just wow. It's one of the all-time great albums. It has hit after hit after hit on this. It's not as hard-hitting and punchy as previous works. There was a stylistic and tonal shift. I get it. Some people were fans and fell along with it. Some people weren't fans and didn't like it at all. For me, I thought it's really, really well done. That said, this probably has more balls than people give it credit for. Like you said, tracks like Rocket and other ones as well. There's some solid, heavy, hard rock songs on this one, just that a bit more to do with the rhythm. Like there's more space in them, and that sort of pop side is in the rhythmic effect where it's meant to make you move. And these songs all do that. But the guitar work still has plenty of flash in it. The rhythm work gets to drive things along nicely. I mean, I know you said that production is time-stamped, and I get that, but at the same time, for me, I loved it then, I love it now. It just sounds fucking monstrous. Like, it's a huge-sounding record. It's one of those things where it needed that sound to cut through at the time. It did the right thing, and it still holds up well today for mine. Great tones, fantastic layering. I think Mutt Lange is exactly what was needed at the time on this one. The backing vocals are his trademark all over it. The balance is perfect. You can hear absolutely everything. There's production little touches in this, like the little things like the backward vocals in Rocket and stuff, and little layering effects. Nothing over the top, but there are little bits and pieces here and there that give you that little bit of ear candy that I really did enjoy on the deep listen. This is one of those ones that for me, like I consider the Black Album to be a reference album. So when you're breaking in a new system where you want to stand out a room, you put the Black Album on because that's, one of those ones you know how it sounds. This for me is another one of those albums where you know how things are supposed to sound. So you put this on in a room, you use it to tune your EQ to get it to where you want it to be because you know how things are supposed to sound. It's that embedded in your mind, the sound for this one. Hooks for days on this. All the songs are fucking memorable. They stay with you forever. You hear it once and they're there. The performances are off the charts. It's hard to fault anything about this one execution-wise. It is going to come down to taste, and I do understand why people weren't fans of it, but I love it. Album flow is bang on. The softer moments are well placed to give you the full peaks and troughs kind of journey on a listen. I understand why people think it's too slick. But for me, it's a monster from top to bottom. Like I said, get stuck in your head. It stays with you. It's hard to try and cut this one down. It's hard. And I did the post earlier today where some people are going, some songs are ones you could cut. But even the ones that I would agree with in that regard, it's like when you listen to the songs individually, they're fucking good. Like it's that whole thing about which one do you cut? And there are some you could make a call on.
My argument with that is always like the next album could have used another single.
Well, and I agree with that too. But at the same time, the next album went all right as well. So it's one of those things. But I don't know. But I think at the same time, though, there are some good deep cuts in this one too. Like I know that 7 tracks got released as singles, but the ones that didn't get released, there are some good gems in those little songs too. So don't just listen to the singles. This is one you got to take in the whole album for, because I think that it'd be a great thing. When I was talking about songs you could cut before, I think the one for me, Gods of War, might be one, but at the same time, that's only by comparison what else is on this record. If you'd put that to another album, it'd be a winner. Like it would stand out, kind of thing. That's how good. So that in that context, I agree with you. But I don't know. Like I said, the deeper cuts of this one too excitable for me. That's one of those tracks that I enjoy. It's a simple song, but it's catchy, punchy. It's a good little one that gets a bit overlooked, I think, at times, but I enjoy it. It is a product of the era, but it still feels fresh to me today. And I don't know. I think it's one of the all-time great records. Personally, I think it's fantastic. I think it's if you're one of those ones that heard it when it came out and then went, "That's not the Def Leppard I wanted," and then sort of jumped off. Go back to it now. It's worth revisiting and getting your head around it again, and just see how it sits with you. Because the weight of expectation, the weight of what you want versus what you actually get is always a different thing. When a band sort of does something that makes you jump off a bit, come back to it.
It wasn't like the production is not meant to be the previous albums.
No, that's it.
You know, it's meant to be like this was their attempt at being the, you know, quote unquote biggest band in the world.
Yeah.
And you know, in order to do that, you can't sound like the previous albums because otherwise they would have been the biggest band in the world.
Yeah, and this album, and it worked. It was a monster. I think. It's
exactly. It achieved its goals. If it flopped, if they released the exact same thing and it flopped, then there's an argument.
Yeah,
but it didn't.
This is a monster. It's one of the biggest ones of all time. It's off the charts good. 7 singles, all were a success. Like, what do you do? It's not Slayer, it's not that, but it's a good hard rock record for mine. I enjoy this one more and more as the years go by, if anything. To be honest, I think it's one of those ones where, like I said, if you jumped off, go back to it, revisit it, because I think it's one of those ones where, I don't know, for me, the more time I spent with it, the more the years have gone by, the more I appreciate this record. Even though I loved it at the beginning, it's one of those ones where, yeah, it's definitely grown on me more. Or, you know, part of it is the memory of time, but at the same time, it's just so well executed. It's fantastic. So it's a 10 out of 10 from me. It was always going to be with this kind of a record. But definite standouts are things like Rocket, Animal, Pour Some Sugar on Me. I know that's a cliched fucking song, but it's still so fucking good. I know radio.
You know what? Pour Some Sugar on Me comes on the radio. It stays with you.
Yeah. And you'll sing along. You've heard it 100 times, and you'll go, I'm sick of it. You'll sing that chorus.
It's so fucking catchy.
I know. That's the point. Like, if you'd have written that song, you'd be fucking laughing all the way for the rest of your days. Kind of thing. Like, it's so good. It's so good. That's why I know it's a tacky song to pick as a standout, but it's that good that I kind of think it deserves to be there. So, anyway, that's my take on it. We do have some comments coming through.
Oh man, if the Beatles wrote "Pour Some Sugar on Me," we'd all be fighting over it.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Mind you, it'd probably have very different production.
It would have very different production, but the point is, you know, it'd still be the same catchy tune.
Yeah, it's a very well written pop song at the end of the day that has the rock roots under it. You could imagine any band doing it, to be honest, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's my point. Like, it's the tune. It's not the production. It's not the guitars. It's not the tones. It's the tune.
Yeah, and that sliding note in the chorus, like the way the note slides up and down, that's a really great vocal take too. Not as easy to do as you might think either to get that right. You can slide all over the.
No, because you got to still differentiate the notes.
Yeah, and that's trickier than you might think, people. So yeah, give it some credit where it's due. That one, it's a subtle thing, but those semitonal moves they're tough. All right, Jeff has gone. High and Dry is their best album by a country mile. There we go. We're going to start the debate on that one. Rowan says there are hardcore Def Leppard fans who prefer the 2 albums previous to Hysteria, and hardcore fans who prefer Hysteria. I'm in the latter category, so you're going to get either side here as well. I'm not sure. I think this might be in reference to Rammstein for a second here. Troy Gardner says they only get YouTube hits because they put a modicum of effort into making the videos quirky. Overall, their songs are pretty much the same. I'm not sure I agree with that on Rammstein, but anyway, thanks for...
Oh, well, I mean, that's part of playing the game, is he's putting out a video that gets clicks.
Yeah.
I mean, Pussy came out on Pornhub. Like... That's just blatantly asking for attention.
Yeah. And they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
Exactly. That is the 2022 equivalent of Hysteria production.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. That is a very good point.
It's finding a way to cut through the market.
Yeah, and because everything's so visual now, yeah, that's not bad at all. I would disagree with the songs sound the same from Rammstein. I think there's a lot more diversity in Rammstein's sound than people give them credit for. personally, but that's me. Jeff says, built for an American market, produced by an Australian. Mutt Lange's contribution on this band cannot be understated. He made their sound. That is true. He made a production sound for all time. Mutt Lange did. So yes, well done to him. But Edge Crusher agrees with Great Sky. High and Dry is easily their best. While Nala coughs up a hairball right by my feet, which is wonderful. There we go. Lee says, saw them in London in 2006. It's like the Brits feel they sold out to the Yanks and therefore a surprisingly lukewarm reception. Cheap Trick and sensational Alex Harvey band of support seemingly got a bigger reception. That's an interesting one there. That is an interesting one. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. That's a quirky one. Nala, are you right? Wow. I don't know what she's doing. All right. Sorry, yeah. Rowan says Mutt is Australian. Didn't know, and Jeff is corrected to South African. Yeah, I was like, I didn't think he was Australian, but yeah. Anyway, Rowan says, I love everything about Hysteria. I still listen to it. Was just so surprising when I first heard it. A 10 out of 10 album for me as well. There we go. More love for it. Darren says, High and Dry and Pyromania are my favorites, but Hysteria is pretty good. So there we go. What else we got here? Valerie, clearly their sound changed after Rick's accident, and that had to happen, to be honest. And that's a good point, Valerie. I want to spend a second on that because the way that band stuck with him, they shut down everything. They shut down tours, they shut down recordings. They stayed with him and did everything they could and helped him until he was ready to go again. Fuck. In today's day and age, especially, could you imagine that happening like that? Like, I think that's actually really, really beautiful what happened there. And if you go back and watch the videos I've got around the time and the story of how they built the drum kit and that was just for back then, that is a huge logistical, just getting that right, getting him to be able to play with his feet, all the things he was doing with his hands. Like, that is just, from technical side to performance side, it's so well done.
Electric drum kits weren't really they were a thing then, but they weren't very good. So yeah, in order to make it work, they really had to think outside of the box. So yeah, fair play.
Yeah, they did something that had not been done before and nailed it. And not only that, went on the biggest albums of all time. So I was like, fuck, really well done. Rowan's having a crack at me going, don't dare cut Gods of War. Okay, I won't. Nudes is back. Gods of War and Love and Affection are his favorite tracks on the album. Scored on their set list too. Nice. Cool. Here we go. Nice. Gods of War. Jeff's gone, Gods of War are my favorites from the album. Love the news interludes. Yeah, it is a good one there. Man Family said, great driving cassette tape. It rocks. Nice. Ooh. Nicole says, I've got this on vinyl. Still gets a regular go around. That's nice. Cool. Bell says, I agree, Andrew. This album is embedded in my mind from decades past. If I never hear it again, I won't be sorry. I can't really disagree with it. I do understand why people would feel that way. Here we go. Roland says, Pour Some Sugar on Me is one of the few songs I played live. Oh, there we go. There's a bit of inside goss on Roland there. Nice. Adrian's gone, it's always an interesting thing doing their tribute band and being careful that it's not too hysteria heavy. Okay. That would be...
that's probably a fair point.
Yeah, I agree. That's
it'd be very tempting to, like I said, it's a massively successful album, and a lot of these songs would be, very fun to play.
Yeah, and you could play with
big fat grooves, man.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. A lot of comments on this one. Cool. Jeff says, under the definition of ear candy, hysteria is listed as the example. So there you go. That's
there you go. That's a good example. Good point.
Edge Crushers have gone, I have 5 different versions of this on LP, be it different color vinyl and picture discs. Wow. Credit to you. That's commitment. Well done. What do we got? Basher says, I was not a fan before 2013, but went to see Heart in 2013, and Def Leppard were also on the same bill. Heart was outstanding, especially when I blew a kiss to Nancy and she smiled back, and then I wake up. But Def Leppard was great, especially songs from Hysteria and Pyromania. So there we go. So it's one of those ones, too, where if you can see them live, I think Dave went and saw them on the last tour here, and he absolutely loved the show they put on as well. So they still go well live, too. Lee says High and Dry and Pyromania are my go-to Def Leppard albums. High and Dry gets a lot of love. We did a Def Leppard special, I think, years ago, and High and Dry was one of the highest polling. It was like the second highest album actually among the fan base back then. What else we got here? Nude says self-titled is great as well. Yeah, there's a lot of love. I still think we mentioned it. I forget. I don't know who I was talking to, but like Slang, Sparkle Lounge. There's some good albums there. Like they're not as cut through as the other ones, but I do like those ones as well. Like, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just one of those things. I do enjoy them a lot. But yeah, that sort of brings us to the end of things. Is there anything else you want to tack on to the end there of the Def Leppard chat, or?
No, I think I'm good.
You think you're good? All right. Well, make sure you let us know your thoughts out there on that album and any of the other ones here tonight while I learn to speak with my tongue again. It's been another good, fun little stream. We've managed to fly through things relatively quickly tonight for us, which is saying something. This is a quick one by comparison to our normal little jaunts. But as we get through the wrap-up, just, give us your thoughts as we go along on all things as usual. We're cutting this up and spreading it out in different bits and pieces anyway, but you know what to do. But anyway, that's it for now. So make sure you follow us. Details are in the description box to do just that. So like, follow, subscribe, share, all the usual things. Just any interaction with us on the social page is great because it helps us to stay in your newsfeed. Check out our Patreon page if you want to help us. The link for that is in the description box as well. I'll also put it in the comments now just for shits and giggles. Why not? If you want to help us out, help us get more done, that'd be greatly appreciated. So just check out that page. And yeah, you get to do things like vote on these classic albums every week, and you get inboxes of new music as often as I can possibly sit down and do it, which I'm trying to get back to daily at the moment as we go through things. Other things, exclusive access, other stuff as well. So yeah, jump in, have a look. And also on that note, a big thank you to our fantastic sponsors in Squid Ink Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description box. So just find them, give them a like, a follow, a share. All that sort of stuff is greatly appreciated by us and by them as well, obviously. Special Patreon supporters. So shout out to TC, Sonia, Lee, Bell, Conrad, Jason, Brendan, 16x9, Marty, Sam, Trash, Carolyn, Gwyneth, Andrew, Daniel, and Man family. Thank you so much for your fantastic support. We do greatly appreciate it. And we look forward to doing another giveaway very, very soon as well. So make sure you're following us for more information on that as well. What else we got here? So tomorrow night, so Thursday night on Channel 44 in Adelaide. Now, we've had a lot of discussion about our recent 2-hour episode, which is all to do with the late, great Taylor Hawkins. There are issues with formatting and uploading that kind of crap. So what I'm going to try and do, like, if you want to check it out in full, so tomorrow night and next week, it will be on Channel 44 in Adelaide, 10 p.m. Thursday night, their time, so Australian Central Time. You can watch it on ctvplus.org.au. You can stream it at the same time as it's airing on the TV broadcast. So that over the next 2 weeks is one way to watch it. Otherwise, I'm going to rerun it at the end of May with the May marathon. I'll run it after our new episode for the month. So at about 12:30 in the morning, it'll go over for about 2 hours there. And then I'll also try and find a way to do something with, I'll cut what we introduced and had a discussion about, and then sort of link the clips we're referencing as a bit of standalone video online as well when I get a chance to do that. So there's a lot coming up on that. We've had a lot of discussion about that, but the first part of that is tomorrow night on Channel 44 in Adelaide, part 2 the week after. Coming up on Saturday night, we have Channel 31 in Melbourne, our new episode at 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. And that one is more of the THRS by request that we did a few weeks back. Got some more left over from that, so I figured I'd put that into another episode. And then after that, Nikki and I have gone through and played a bunch of new music for the rest of the month, and then we'll have another special episode coming up, which if you want to get involved in the next special episode by telling us what you want us to play, join our Facebook group, our THRS Lounge, and we'll have a poll in there very, very soon as to what people want us to do, and we'll get stuck into that one. That's what's coming up. Don't forget to check out our deep cuts format. That's coming up more often now as well. We're going to get together on Friday and try and film some more stuff for that for the next couple of weeks. So that'll be coming through too. We did our first one with Arcane Saints, so that's available for everyone to go and check out as well. We did a review of the album and chatted to the band. It was very, very fun, very, very cool. And if you haven't checked out Arcane Saints' album, This Is Primal, please do. It's fucking fantastic. And no, I'm not paid to say that. It's just fucking good. So there we go. But yeah, that sort of brings us to the end of what's coming on at the moment. There's always more stuff happening, and we'll just keep up to date with our social so you know what's coming up with next week's stream as well. But before we get out of here, we've got some more comments. So Jeff says, what I thought was kind of odd was when Motley Crue announced their tour in 2019, Def Leppard and Poison were mentioned as supporting acts. Surely Def Leppard is bigger than the Crew. Depends on where you are, I think. And Motley Crue probably had the media hype at the time as well, being the comeback versus Def Leppard has sort of still been consistently putting out albums. So, yeah, don't know. I would personally put Leopard above Crew. Don't tell Jody that. She'll shoot me. But at the same time, for terms of market and media and stuff, I do get that business decision if that puts it there. News says, the show was on Saturday night here in Adelaide last week. Don't know if that's an ongoing thing. Didn't know that either, mate. I will have to check. I think there was a funky thing with last week because there was a live stream they committed to, so they changed our time slot around for last week. I think it was just a one-off week for that one, Nudes. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just a one-off. Actually, I remember that conversation with the network. Now there was a thing there. So yeah, no, I do remember that there was a one-off week. Let us know though if it happens again on the coming week as well. I'm pretty sure it'll be coming up. But yeah, I think it was a one-off week, that one. But yeah, if it happens again, let us know and I'll follow up. Basher says, guitar sound was unique on Hysteria, especially on the title track. I believe Phil Collin contributed to this beautiful guitar tone. Yeah, he had a bit to do when he came in and started changing things up as well. So there we go. Alrighty. But that brings us to the end. That brings us to the fun part of the episode here, doesn't it, Tim?
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of low-hanging fruit for the bin this week. There is so much it's not even funny, but what have you got?
All right, so from left field.
Yep.
KFC.
Hmm?
Why is there fucking coleslaw and everything now? And it's not even coleslaw, it's just big chunks of cabbage. Like, fuck that.
And mayo.
No one likes that in the bin. And also, cane corns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. This is why you don't... Cane corns, this is why you don't blow your load too early on a player.
Yeah.
Like, you put yourself out there, you tried to make a name for yourself, and now you look like an idiot.
Yep. And he ended up looking like an idiot when he bleached his hair too. So fucking hell.
Well, he's trying to take after his new hero.
And after that goal, that goal of the year contender on the weekend.
What a fucking goal.
That was so good. That was so good. Ginnivan is a gun. I'm very he's like 10
I love it.
Career. Fuck man. So good. But yes, no, it's funny because one of my bins got a couple here tonight. Is the AFL media and Ginnivan, because they're beating up this thing about how he went out for a couple of drinks with his friends and the club pulled him up on it. It's like they just said, just monitor your in public behavior. That's all it was. It was a nothing event. It was just a reminder, not even a fucking serious chat. It was just a reminder just to be careful because there's always cameras around, basically. Like, that's it. Just letting the young kid know, just have fun, be good. It's all fine.
19-year-old goes to the pub. What a story.
I know, right? Who'd have thunk it? 5 goals in a fucking big game. It's like, what the fuck do you think he's going to do? I know what I was doing at 19, and it wasn't anything professional like that. So, not even close. And the other bin, this is petty. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit. I'm going to keep it fun tonight. When you're watching a music video on YouTube, and then I know it's a thing to put the watermarks and the link to this next video on your channel and stuff, but don't put it at the end of the fucking video when the song's still playing.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's annoying. It's like you miss almost 30 seconds of the video of the song, and it's like, why did you go to that video production point and then just big fucking watermarks to cover up 80% of the screen? It's fucking pointless. Put that in the bin. Just wait. Just give it a blank slate at the end and stick them there. Don't do it when the video is actually playing. That's silly. Don't. I just don't like it. Anyway, that's my bin. Petty as fuck, but it's more fun that way. Otherwise, we get too serious.
Actually, you know what else can go in the bin? You know what else can go in the bin? Speaking of music videos.
Yep.
And this is a thing local bands do.
Yep.
They don't plug in their guitars in their music videos.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate seeing unplugged guitars in music videos. It just takes you right out of it and makes you look stupid.
It does affect the suspension of disbelief, doesn't it? Like it just
yes,
it's not even that hard. Just plug it in. So you got your wireless thing. You just have to literally plug it into a black box on your belt. It doesn't even. You don't have to have a wireless. Like
exactly.
Just
you don't need to turn it on. You just need to have some kind of wire. Because watching people play guitars and you just see like this empty input jack.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here we go. Now we're getting really petty. This is the stuff we want to talk about in the bin. So there we go. This, as opposed to all the other shit going on in the world, this is where we're going with it. So yes, I agree though. It's a simple fix. Just stick your guitar cord and literally tuck it in the back of your pants for the shots. Like it's no one will know if you do that.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, what do you do? No, I got some bins here. So Nicole has gone, bin is again the weather. So heads up your family in for another wild week. Fuck. Thanks for the heads up there, Nicole. I haven't seen it much up there. I'll have to let Jody know. I'm sure that the family up there are all over it. But yeah, thank you for the heads up and stay safe up there yourself. It's been wild up north this year already. So hopefully everyone in general that's up that way can stay safe. It's been bad enough this year as it is. Here we go. Here we go, Lee. Tigers to put Ginnivan back in his place on Saturday. We'll see. We'll see what happens. However, he says Calgary Flames for Stanley Cup. Mate, that was a cracking game today. Fuck, it was tense. 1-0 win. I'll take it. If we can win next week, then we're on to a good stretch. Or next game, on Friday. Thursday their time, Friday our time. Yeah, Flames are doing well. Me and my daughter are both fucking loving it at the moment, so it's good. So hopefully we can get there. Jeff says, I'm with you on that, Tim. My pet peeve as well. And there we go. Nude says, unplugged electric guitars worked fine on Countdown. That could be comment of the night, Nudes. That is well done. Rowan says, a funny thing would be to take those videos with the unplugged guitars and replace the music with an unplugged mix of the track. Oh, that would be...
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. That could be done. There'd be a way to do it. Oh, here's a good one too. So Belle's gone. Thanks, guys. Good show. And happy Mother's Day to all the mums. And yes, that is true. Agree. Thank you for reminding me of that. It's Mother's Day this weekend. Love to all the mums out there and all the rockin' ones in particular. But yeah, thank you. And another bell that applies to you. So hopefully you enjoy the day. And yeah, hopefully everyone out there just enjoys the time of it. So spend some with the family. I know me and my family are doing something tomorrow night, so that'll be all right. But yeah, spend some time with loved ones this weekend. It's always good to do that. But I think that's it. I think we'll get out of here now. Unless there's anything else. So. Jump in there, Tim, or are we just going to wrap it up? And
we're good.
We're good. All righty. Well, thank you all so very much for joining us tonight. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Until next time, though, I'm Andrew.
Tim.
As always.
Drink up.
And rock on.
Nikki, I reckon you'd like this. If you want to see the best pop song for the year, go and Google the brand new song by New Kids on the Block, and it's got Rick Astley in it, En Vogue, and Salt and Pepper. The video clip is phenomenal. They take the piss out of all the classic 80s videos. Absolutely unbelievable. And the song's really catchy as fuck. It's a great song.
I admit to having En Vogue CDs. I have NSYNC CDs. Oh, you've seen the fucking rack.
Go and watch this video. Go and check this video out because they take.
I had all sorts of New Kids on the Block when I was a kid.
Well, they take the piss out of classic 80s videos. They take the piss out of.
Oh shit!
That is the best one yet.
There's one for the extras.
That is the best one yet. Wow.
That has to get a run somewhere.
That's getting in. That is the best one yet.
That went flying.
Fucking break.